Risky, but well-timed challenge.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with another episode. And, oh, by the way, if you did not see the amazing pass this weekend from Dylan's favorite Harry Forrester to Michael Seaton for the goal, you missed an amazing goal. If you're watching live, you're seeing a little bit of that right there, right now. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
We are underway in the postseason, the first playoff game ever played in Orange County.
It's a 1-2, Godoy. He's found a great ball into Voltson. Plenty of time. He smashes it home and doubles the visitors' lead. Thomas Zenna Voltson.
Now Segber sprinting forward on the counterattack. Little handsy there, crosses it. Pineda, the extra pass. Seaton finishes.
It rolls down to his left and burying aside. Well taken care of by the Orange County keeper. We'll leave it for Aiden Quinn. He'll strike towards goal, and it's gone in! An equalizer and a winner in second half stoppage time for Orange County off the left boot of Aiden Quinn.
This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast and on Facebook at Orange and Black SoccerCast. How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans and supporters. Oh, and by the way, our podcast is brought to you by Ruffneck Scarves. I'm Ray Zamora, your host. I'm with you each and every episode as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. And joining me as he does each and every episode, we've got Dylan from County Line Coalition. Yes, I'm all over the place, Dylan, but how are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm ready for Sunday.
One of the days.
I need more soccer in my life.
I'm
ready for the weekend.
I was gonna say, I think we're all thrown off. It's all gonna be weird with this, fake Monday type situation. It's actually Tuesday, but it feels like a Monday because a lot of people,
week, but we played a day later, so I have no excuse.
Time is all thrown off. Monday, most people had Monday off, but even then, it's weird. It doesn't feel like we should be recording tonight, but we are, and we're here, and we're actually live too. So if you're listening to us live, thank you, and we appreciate it. Oh, by the way, we do have Alan sort of hanging with us. He's actually, I don't know Alan, and he's not even going to really be able to talk. He's going to chat. Dylan's going to be his translator on this, but he's somewhere up above the Central Valley of California on his way to Sacramento. If you're watching live, every so often you're going to see his face in the screen or on the screen, but anytime he chats something, because Dylan pays more attention to that than I do, he'll share what Alan has to say. We got some stuff to talk about soccer-wise. It was an amazing game. I don't know your exact quote, Dylan, but I know you were saying this was probably the best, start-to-finish match of the season for Orange County. And the fact that they did this with a lightning delay thrown in the mix, I'm pretty shocked they were able to come out and just finish the match and put it away. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to look forward to the next match coming up, a big match, but also a winnable match for Orange County up in Portland. So let's get into this New Mexico United match. Dylan, like I said, I saw you on Twitter saying this is probably the best game of the season, best match of the season, start to finish for Orange County. Share more on why you think that.
I think it took a lot of resolve to go on the road and beat a team that has been pretty good this season. And I know they weren't in great form, and that's what gave me hope that Orange County could get a result. But, a clean sheet on the road, I don't think has happened since San Antonio, and that was a match that we didn't manage to score any goals. We haven't had a lot of clean sheets this year, and I think it was a good, complete performance. I mean, Frederick Dew came up big a few times to keep us level and then to keep us ahead before we scored and then after we scored the first one. But, Joe Amico played out of his skin all game long. Michael Roscoe played a really smart, strong game. Walker Hume had a pretty close to goal line clearance. And then the midfield was on it too. Quinny was Quinny and dominating the run of play as he always does. And Duke was chasing down Chris Whean, which is what I had kind of targeted as one of the keys to get a result out of this match. And then, of course, you have Harry Forster just standing there and making Justin Schmidt look like a child, just making him and setting up Mike to just, slot it home. He put some power behind it and beat Mizzle at the front post. But what a play! We've been looking for that all season, and that's what we got. That should be a really big confidence booster for the side, and 3 straight wins, kind of right on time, and we jumped up 7 places in the standings this past week. So
was it this past week, or I think
it was 5
I thought
on
we
Sunday.
came in. Yeah.
But over the midweek, Vegas and Tulsa played. And I think after that match, dropped to 14th after the Saturday matches had been played and shot up. I could be wrong, but we jumped a lot of places. And we're finally into a solid playoff place, and we're looking good.
Well, the cool thing about it, if you look at the standings, I think we're 3 points off of 4th place.
We'll be technically 3 points off of 5th place because the tiebreaker is not goal difference,
not in our favor,
but wins.
Okay, but there's enough matches where you can make up a 4-goal, I guess, then deficit at this point.
We're doing just fine.
Which I think if you asked any Orange County fan maybe a month ago, we would have been happy with saying, hey, we're creeping into maybe 10th or 9th spot. And we would have probably been satisfied with that, with the way things had gone all season. Now you're looking at where they're at, the form that the club is in now, 9 points in 3 matches. I know we don't have any easy matches as we play out the season, but we have winnable matches. That's the key thing in there. There's no Phoenix standing in your way. That's just basically unbeatable at the moment. I know Portland's a tough travel for a lot of these teams, but they're not like this unbeatable team. It's a team that we can still go on the road, and maybe we just have to go with Allen and say, hey, go up there hoping for a point. If you get 3, amazing. But again, with this form and everything like that, it's awesome. Did you mention the debut performance of our new keeper between the sticks, Dylan?
I did.
Okay. I wasn't listening then.
Game. What save do you want to pick out is his best? The USL thinks from that free kick. I think from that free kick. Probably everyone else thinks from that free kick, but there were multiple others where, he wasn't afraid to throw his body out there on the line. Even if the ball was 20, 25 yards out, he was still going for it. He made 7 saves. That's a good result. It would have been a much different game had this been someone else in goal, not Aaron.
It was an amazing debut performance from a goalkeeper. I know, Dylan, you and I talked a little bit about it heading into the match. We sort of knew he was going to be starting, although the broadcasters there in Albuquerque were sort of shocked that he was in the starting lineup. I guess no one told them. Aaron Cervantes is like on the other side of the world right now preparing.
Well, they definitely didn't read
matches.
The USL announced it, the team announced it, and US Soccer announced it. But reading is difficult, and we don't teach that in schools. So, because
when they were announcing the lineups, like I swear, I don't know if I'm the only one that heard it, but they sounded just shocked. They said his name with this like what? Why is he in there? Type pitch into the voice, I guess you could say. So that was interesting. But yeah, to come out and have this amazing debut, a shutout, which I can't remember. I know Alan was talking about it when we were texting with each other, but like the first shutout since early in the season, I would say, I believe, was it San Antonio was the match that was referenced, or a shutout on the road, I guess, is a clean sheet on the road. And nominee for Save of the Week, nominee or a member of the Team of the Week for USL. Awesome. What can I say? Awesome debut from a goalkeeper that's getting thrown into the mix late in the season. I know he's been playing out in Hartford, but different styles of teams, different expectations, different at this point of the season. You're over in Hartford. You're just sort of playing the season out, looking ahead maybe to next season or looking to see what your next step's going to be. Now you're joining an Orange County team that's on a good run of form, looking at playoff positioning and looking at now at this point making a good run in the playoffs. They're not now just looking to squeak in. They're now looking to set themselves up for a possible home match in the first round of the playoffs, which again, any Orange County fan a month or so ago would have been shocked if you said that's a possibility at this point.
Yeah, that's what Alan wanted to bring up, was that the Three Honest Lads think that we can sneak into that final hosting spot. Anything is possible at this point, I guess.
I think if you get into that final home spot, right? So what is that, fourth place, I guess? Then if you win that match and Phoenix wins their match, that sets up a match of two teams where the last loss so far at this point for Phoenix was against Orange County. We've talked about it before. It'd be awesome to give them that next loss or their first loss since then. That would be.
Did you forget
cool.
what word you were going to use again?
Yeah, I forgot. I was going to say, bookmark. But I know it's bookend. Whatever. I got to say this too before we get any further. Props to all of y'all that made it out to the fan viewing party that we set up over at Out of the Park Pizza in Anaheim. It was actually a pretty good turnout. I think when we counted, probably about 24 to 25 total showed up. That's including Dylan and myself, Alan, down in San Diego. It's a little bit far of a drive for him to make it up just to watch a game on TV. And props also to everyone that hung out there, because it was decently warm that day. They did have us out in the patio, but it did help out with the atmosphere, I think, because we were able to set up a speaker, have the sound nice and loud, and you felt like you could just be a soccer fan, chant and have fun without worrying about what the rest of the restaurant or the bar is thinking out there. So again, props to everyone that made their way out there. And we're looking to see what we can do this weekend, set something up, because again, another big match. It's a little bit more difficult because it's the first weekend for NFL on a Sunday match, but we'll get something set up and we'll hopefully get a good, decent turnout as well. I would ask Alan at this point, anything he wants to share with this match, but I don't know, Dylan, have you been reading any of the chats? Is there anything that you see in there that pops out?
No, he brought up the Three Honest Lads thing. I've listened to them once, so that's that's an Alan thing. He's so well versed in the USL existence, always on Twitter. Alan always brings in some great stats, so he'd say something like, this was only Frederick Drew's second clean sheet of the season.
But in all honesty, he was playing in Hartford, so that's difficult to put on him.
Yes, and he has 65 saves this season, which is kind of crazy. I don't know what else he would say. It reminds him of Allison, and then when he ran out to track down Gavon Frater just outside the box, it was like he was watching Adrian in goal. I'm out of Liverpool references. I think that's what he'd say. He seems to approve.
Other than that, all you know is the two goalies for Liverpool, apparently.
Well, I know other people, but
reference.
I mean, I'm not going to compare Frederick Dew to like Sadio Mane.
Why not? No. Let's go back to the Harry Forrester pass, which I think is a shoo-in for a nominee as assist of the year. Probably a shoo-in as a winner, but I'm not going to try and persuade y'all. For those of you that are listening that just now maybe started listening this season, last season was our first season, of course, doing a podcast, but we do a Orange and Black Soccer Cast Awards, which we will do at the end of this season. And the way it all works out, we set up about 14 different categories. We let you, the listeners and the fans, vote on it. And then we take like 2 or 3 episodes and we announce all the winners. We will compile like the best goals, best assists, best games of the season. And we'll actually put links where you can actually watch them. So you'll be able to make a good pick there. But I'm pretty certain that if this is not the winner, this is going to be one of the top contenders for it. I don't know what your thoughts were, or anyone that's listening thoughts, Dylan, or even Alan, once we get to talk to you, if we ever do get to talk to you tonight and actually hear your voice. But I think for like a split second on that play, I think in my mind, I'm looking at Harry Forrester. I'm like, what are you doing? You're just sort of standing there with the ball. What's going on? And then all of a sudden this pass goes through the legs of the New Mexico defender. Michael Seaton makes a nice run, gets the ball in the goal, and all of a sudden just looks like an amazing thing. Dylan, were you sort of thinking the same thing when you saw Forrester just sort of standing there with the ball for like a second or two, not really doing anything? Or did you predict that that's what was coming up?
There's no way you predict that's what's coming. I just assumed that like the play had been blown dead, or maybe there was another lightning strike that had been something was happening, or he was just tired of running, and he fooled everyone. I mean, yeah, Alan mentions that the New Mexico backline is not great. They are so not great that they have the joint, or they had on Sunday, the joint fourth worst goal differential, or goals conceded record in the Western Conference. They were the highest up team with that. The only other team that's remotely involved in the playoffs with a high goals against is Los Dos. So they're not good at defending. And you look at their early season form and how they played, they had trouble finishing off games. If you look at the first game that we played, they took an early lead, and then they kind of fell apart at the end, and they never figured that out. They never pulled a Reno and figured out how to see out a 90-minute match, or if, even more relevant, they never figured out how to play like Orange County and figure out how to play a full match. Andy, longtime listener, occasional guest, super listener, tweeted, "Please be on the lookout for Harry Forster and Mikey Seaton. Forster in particular is wanted for questioning regarding the absolute murder of Justin Schmidt shown in the surveillance video," and linked to the that nutmeg, which I could watch until the end of time.
Well, don't forget, you got to contact your local supporters group, County Coalition, if you have any more info on that. I mean, amazing, just sort of, I'm sure Andy sat there for like the whole day trying to think about how he's going to.
He's smarter than that. You see all the data, like 90% of the stats that I pull, that's not coming off the USL websites from Andy's beautiful.
We were telling him at the meetup, at the watch party, that we need to pull him in as our statistician. He can actually sort of join our Google Meet hangout. He can throw stats on in the chat, and that way we don't have to look up anything, because he basically, I think you said it, he has like spreadsheet upon spreadsheet of information regarding stats for not just Orange County, but I think he like compiles stats for like USL too when looking at it. So by all means, Andy, if you want to join us and be our statistician, we'll be happy to have you on. I don't know, maybe Alan won't be so happy because then he's like the secondary statistician. But
no, Alan has officially welcomed him to, quote, "come join the Nerd Fest."
Oh, geez, Alan, man, you don't have to be so harsh. I didn't know we were nerds. But I guess, yeah, we're talking about soccer with like 3 or 4 people watching us at a time. We do get more than that. I'm just joking. Yeah, so what else do we want to say about this match?
That was freaking awesome.
It was freaking awesome.
And
go ahead.
I think you can argue now that Orange County could beat any team in any place.
Even Phoenix.
Yes.
All right. I think we talked about this earlier on the season. Remember, we were having all these conversations about when is it now no longer early in the season? When is it that you can no longer make that excuse? I think we even talked about it then, is if you can get on the right run of form at the right time, it doesn't matter how your season's been going. If you can get there at the end of the season, you're playing well and you're, the ball's bouncing your way, which obviously through the first half of the season, maybe first 2/3 of the season, the club was struggling. There was just a lot of bad luck going on, injuries that were out of nowhere, sort of freak injuries. You look at the Christian Duke thing and stuff like that. Ball just not bouncing your way, bad call here and there. We're starting to get there. I mean, even you look at this match against New Mexico, we got the benefit of the doubt on a call that was probably a questionable call. I'm sure a lot of New Mexico fans, I'm sure our fans, Chris and Seth, are angry about the call. And I'm talking about, I believe it was Devin Sandoval and Frederick Dew. Minimal contact there, but the ref decided to blow the whistle, and I think that's what he was blowing for. I don't think it was an offside thing. This is where, if you remember the match where Orozco goes and throws up, catches the ball. We're all at the watch party not knowing that the whistle's been blown or that something's been called, thinking, great, what's going on? Ejection, red card, penalty kick, whatnot. But it's one of those things where maybe early in the season we're not getting that call, it goes against us, and now we're maybe getting that call, and things are just sort of bouncing our way. We're getting the luck of the draw there. I don't know, Dylan or Alan. Again, Alan, we'll talk to you, but you can chat. But Dylan, if you're seeing that same thing at this point, where, like you said, it's now we can compete and we can challenge anybody in this league.
Alan will one day get off that plane.
What'd you say?
Alan will one day get off of that plane.
He will one day get off that plane. I want to know what airlines he's flying.
He's probably flying Southwest.
Probably.
Sponsor us.
We'll get his thoughts on this match, but we do need to move ahead and talk about the upcoming match, which again is another important match, but it's a winnable match for Orange County. So that's a good thing coming up. And this is, so we'll hold off on maybe picking our man of the match, because I want to wait for Alan to jump on and give his thoughts really quick before we go there, if he gets a chance to. If not, we'll just do it at the end of the episode. But let's talk about this upcoming match in Portland against Timbers 2. Again, another team that can give you trouble, but they are not unbeatable. They're a team that you can still go in, make the trip up to Portland, and come away with some sort of results, if not a full 3 points. Dylan, are you pretty confident heading into this match that Orange County can go up there and come home with 3 points?
I'm confident but wary. And I'm hoping, because of the season that Orange County's had, that the players aren't going to get complacent just because they've won 3 straight. This is a side that doesn't seem to play. This is from Allen. Doesn't seem to play any better away or at home. They basically even wherever they're at. I mean, their goal difference is +4. Nothing crazy. They're 9th place right now, but again, basically 5th through 12th. I think one week could change where you're at in that. It's hard to say what they offer. I think when we played them in June, Orange County played horribly, and that's why we didn't get a result then. I don't think we were particularly outplayed so much as we just switched off defensively, switched off at the end of the match, and that's what punished us. That's not the same team anymore, and I think Orange County's had a much more positive month and a half, if you will, than Portland, who, much like New Mexico, I think have kind of just not a proper tailspin, but they've definitely started to slide a bit, and they need these matches now to kind of arrest that slide and to get into some good form. But I think one of these things for Orange County is going to be, it's an away match, but it's an empty Providence Park, and it's got to be a mentality thing and an experience thing. We're not a bunch of kids. It's not Foster Langsdorff and a bunch of other random people and Zach Kobayashi. It's a team with a guy that's played for the U.S. national team and Frederick Dew, who's apparently incredible in goal, which I guess we all should have expected. And then an informed Michael Seaton and an informed Darwin Jones and an informed Harry Forrester and an informed Jerry Von Wolfgang and an informed Aiden Quinn. We should be getting 3 points here, especially on the road, and that will only strengthen the argument that we can beat anyone anywhere. Can
we say informed Joe Miko also after that amazing defense?
My
match.
God,
we totally forgot about Joe Miko.
I mentioned it earlier, but he played out of his freaking skin for 90 minutes.
He did.
And he didn't let himself get riled up by Kevon Fader. He just, he had his head on and did his job and came up big repeatedly. I'm so thrilled for him. Kevin Olsen's going to have a hard time getting back into the side, I think, because I don't think you could argue that that Joe could really be dropped right now.
But you can always throw Kevin on the other side of the field, of the pitch. But
we're going to drop Contour.
Well, hey, let's say
it's
this.
A good problem to have.
I was going to say, a good problem for Braden to have is too many quality players worthy of minutes in the defense. And hey, our center defense was actually pretty good this match too. So I mean, that New Mexico. We're supposed to be talking about Portland here. We just sort of got backtracked because you started talking about all these informs, and I'm like, oh my God, we forgot about Joe Miko. You did mention him, but we didn't dig into it a little bit like I wanted to. Portland's going to be a pretty good match. hopefully none of the players on the team are huge NFL fans where they're going to be upset that they're missing an NFL game because they have to play soccer, which again, hopefully not. I don't think there's anyone that is diehard NFL on this team, but it'll be interesting. I'm hoping for a full 3 points in this match. I think it's doable. Yeah, I unfortunately I don't know much about Portland. I haven't watched any of their matches this season other than when they've played against Orange County. So can't really tell you what to expect out of them, and we don't have any Portland expert joining us.
They don't exist. If you want a summary of their last, we'll say 4 matches, you get a 3-1 victory against Reno away in Reno. You get a 1-0 loss in Vegas. You get a 4-2 loss to Oklahoma at home, and then a 3-2 victory over New Mexico United. So, bang on average, I guess is the way you put it.
Was the New Mexico one? Was the New Mexico one in Portland or New Mexico?
It was in Portland.
So, I mean, if you measure against a recent opponent like that, I mean, we sort of thoroughly dominated New Mexico in New Mexico, where they're able to come away with a victory, but it wasn't like any domination unless, again, the score line maybe can fool you sometimes, but the score lines between the 2 matches, I mean, so
they start strong, but it's like every 2 teams. They start strong every year and they kind of fall apart at the end, and hopefully that continues at least for this week.
Yeah, hopefully. Do you expect any changes out of Braden for the maybe the lineups, the starting 11, or do you think it's going to be very similar to what we saw in New Mexico?
I think it'll be exactly the same. We talked to Braden after the 4-0 victory over Reno over the summer, and we had a short turnaround. He still said, I can't drop anyone right now. Everyone played too well. They did exactly what they needed. And you could say the same thing about the New Mexico match. So going into this one, unless someone picks up a knock in training this week, no, it's going to be the same starting 11. And we see that Braden picks his starting 11, and he picks the guys that are going to start, and he never really deviates that.
Perfect. I'm going to assume that Alan's still in the air, or he's starting to make some noise.
Landed.
No,
he's making some noise, folks.
Off of the plane.
So this
is
how dedicated Alan is he just landed in Sacramento, and he's like, probably as he's walking, talking to us, people are probably wondering what's this guy saying as he's talking. I guess though it's pretty normal nowadays for people to be talking into like some sort of Bluetooth or headset as they're walking.
Yeah,
Alan,
you do that all the time.
Good to hear, Alan, that you landed safely in the nation's capital. Have no idea why you're heading up there.
Where do you think he is?
Where's he at? Oh, not nation's capital, state capital. State capital. Oh man.
You're terrible at this.
Oh my God.
I could blame it on the Barley Forge.
The Sac Republic fans wish they were as relevant as the nation's capital. But
hey, people have been trying for 40 years to try and get rid, leave the United States as the state of California, create your own country. But so maybe one day that'll be a true statement that it's the nation's capital. But as of right now, the state capital. How was your flight, Alan?
It was pretty good. I am happily landed and off of the plane. A couple comments about Portland is their stadium is super empty. It's nice, but there's not a ton of people. And there isn't really a home field advantage there because there's not really any kind of vibe going on, which can be good or it can be bad because you're used to having fans cheering and hissing and booing, and you don't get that same environment up there in Portland. So it can go. I think it can go either way. I think Orange County can go in there and make this kind of like a pre-playoff game, where it's like, hey, we're gonna probably have to beat somebody on the road, and we're gonna have to beat a solid team on the road. So let's gear up against this T2 side that's been inconsistent this year, and let's take it to them early, and then make them not want to play anymore. I mean, you look at what Tulsa's been able to do the last couple of games. They've really stepped up their play, and now like one of the worst teams in the West is taking on and beating some of the best teams in the West. So if we can just use some of that energy and take this as a playoff test, I think Orange County can go up there and get a win against a T2 team that's kind of up and down.
There you go. You waited, I don't know, 30.
It was worth the wait.
30 minutes or so to hear Alan, and he's on point, man. That's why he's probably an MVP candidate for this podcast as far as the host. Maybe we'll have to throw that in as one of the awards at the end of the season. Your favorite host of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
He'd get my vote. Don't tell John Macaluso, but Alan would get my vote.
I guess we'd have to put
the stats and the banter. Like
we'd have to put John.
A complete man.
But can we put John's name in there? I mean, because of his work schedule, he can't even join us anymore. What? Okay.
Sorry, I had to mute. We were getting talked to by security.
I'm not getting involved in this love triangle.
Look at that. Security's after him, man. The Sacramento Republic people.
It's just the TSA. They don't do anything.
The Sacramento Republic people probably did something
suspicious.
Or said that he's on his way, so take that guy down. Yeah,
for sure. They're like, he's an Orange County soccer cast guy. I don't want him to spread any of that news.
You've made it, Alan. If that's the case, if they're stopping you because of that,
right?
Flight 793 is about to take off, though. Should we get into some predictions on this match, or is there anything else you want to talk about for Portland, Dylan or Alan?
No, I'm good. Ground transportation's yelling at me now. I'm trying to edit out all of the background noise, but it's nearly impossible. No, I think, like I said, it should be a fun one to watch. It'll be a good test. And I think maybe a 2-1 victory for transitioning to calling the score of the game. I think it's going to be a close one, but I think the way Orange County's playing right now, they're going to hunker down on defense, and they're going to pump a couple goals in. I think they outscored their opponents 8-1 in the last 3 matches. So they got a good chance of putting a couple in and walking out with 3 points on the road again.
You know, I just realized too, this is totally off topic, is Dylan tried to join the podcast as he's driving to Colorado. You're joining us as you're flying to Sacramento, and somehow the internet connection during the flight to Sacramento was a lot more reliable than what we experienced with Dylan heading to Colorado. Just had to say it. Oh, by the way, make sure you stay clear of the doors too, Alan, because apparently that's dangerous. Or Alan. Dylan, what is your prediction for the match?
I have to echo Alan's here. I think it's an Orange County win, but I think that it's going to be hard fought. I think Portland always offers an attacking option, and there's a reason Foster Langsdorff holds the Pac-12 scoring record. I don't understand why he's never really made an extended run for the first team, but he's consistent. Last year he was a threat for a good portion of the season. It cooled off, and he's netted a few goals in the last couple of weeks, so I think they'll score probably a 2-1 victory for Orange County.
Great. And do I even have to say what my prediction is going to be, or does everyone already know it?
Didn't I yell at you about this on Sunday and last week and the week before that and the week before that and the first time you did it and the second time you did it too?
I'm sorry though, Dylan. You are in college. You know that when you do a study, you track stuff. I mean, eventually it's proof that it's working if it keeps happening. If I keep doing something, it keeps working, it keeps happening. It's proof that it is a legit thing. And come on, Alan, back me up on this, right? I mean, it's working.
Go for it. Do it.
Yeah.
5-0. 5-0 Portland. Go for it.
Okay.
Well, it's not going to work now that you said it, Alan. Now it's going to ruin everything.
I mean, 2-1 Orange County.
No, 5-0 Portland. So Portland fans, be excited that I'm giving you that, except for don't be excited because it's not going to work so far. If you've just now listening for the first time, the last 3 weeks or 3 matches, whatever it's been, can't remember. It's Tuesday, but it feels like a Monday, so I'm going crazy. But the last 3 matches, Orange County has come away victorious. In each of those matches, I've said 5-0 for the opposite side. Oh, by the way, it also worked out against Phoenix early this season. So I'm going to say 5-0 Portland. But hopefully this just keeps going. I'm just going to keep doing it until it doesn't work anymore. hopefully the result is it just keeps working until the end of the season and the end of the playoffs. I'm sure every Orange County fan would be excited if this works, except for Dylan, because somehow, some way he thinks this is ridiculous. It's nothing. It's not.
How could
working.
you even say that? You don't think that I would be thrilled if we won?
No, but you would say it has nothing to do with my predictions. Even at that point, you would still say
doesn't.
That.
Yes, you're right.
But the proof is in it. If it works each and every week, then there's something behind it.
Someone's got to be the naysayer.
You got to believe in something, Dylan. You got to believe in something. And my belief right now is when I say 5-0 for the other team, we win.
I believe in Aiden Quinn's left foot. There's concrete evidence that points to Aiden Quinn's left foot being holy.
So I got to ask Alan this, because you've landed. You've probably got your luggage. If you even had luggage, I don't know if you just do carry-ons. Are you Ubering it, or did you rent a car, or what's going on? Are you taking a shuttle?
Gonna lift to our hotel and then probably grab food and a drink.
Okay.
Then,
yeah. You got to convince your Lyft driver to say what's up if you get to him before we end this podcast. I got to go back now. We got to go back in time a little bit, Alan, because we didn't get to hear your voice when we were talking about New Mexico. I know we saw some of your chat. We relayed some of those messages. Do you want to just give us your brief thoughts on that whole match against New Mexico? What you liked, what you possibly didn't like, if there's anything, and go for it.
I thought the team played well. I thought the lightning storm happened in probably the worst opportune time for the team. They scored 2 goals in 3 minutes. Maybe not quite as strong as you want them to be early on, but the fact that they're still not giving up goals early is always good. I mean, that's what we talked about a little bit. Sorry, as soon as I start talking, literally were no announcements the entire time I wasn't talking. As soon as I turned on, it was background.
You got a kid going, you got the announcements.
Right. No, I think it's just that not getting behind early thing that's really been kind of the Achilles heel. That and those last stoppage time goals at the end. So it's the middle of the game is usually can go either way, but if they don't give up a goal early, they're good. If they don't give up a goal late, they're good. New Mexico's defense is terrible. They're not figuring that out. Nothing's going well on the back end for them. Like I said last time, they're more likely to give up 3 goals than get a clean sheet. So it kind of played out exactly the way I thought it might on paper. But with Orange County's road form and Mexico being kind of a tough place to play, you just never know. You never know if New Mexico is going to rekindle that fire they had earlier in the season. Clearly they haven't. Things were not clicking for them. They looked the way that Orange County looked early in the season, where nothing was coming off. They're kind of getting unlucky, and then they ran into a couple hot goaltender who they made some really good. They had some good opportunities, and they just couldn't put them away, either because we played really good defense or Duke came up really big. I think he was for sure the man of the match for the team. And really kind of set the tone for we're just not going to let any goals go in. And I think if they keep that mentality, Orange County is very dangerous. They could very easily wind up in that, last home match, or hosting a playing game versus, a couple weeks ago, we were worried if they'd even make that last playoff spot. So I think they just got to keep playing the way they've been playing, believe in the system. That's what they've been preaching all year. So why stop now?
And how exciting it would be again if they were able to get an extra home match out of this or 2 at the end of the season. So that'd be awesome. Let's now do this then, since we didn't do it before. We were waiting for Ellen to join us. Let's pick our star of the match for the New Mexico match. And I will start with Dylan.
There's only one option here, and that is no disrespect to Jerry or to Mike or to Darwin or to Harry or to Aiden or to literally anyone. It has to be Frederick too. And it's sad because everyone played so well.
All right, perfect. Alan, do you agree with Dylan on that, or do you have an alternate choice for star of the match?
No, I mean, I think you got to lean Dew. I think he took some pressure off early. He kind of breathed a sigh of relief that, hey, we got this goalie that's really going to come through for us. It kind of settles the team down a little bit and then allows the guys to play a little bit more freely on the offensive side. And that turns into those offensive opportunities. So I definitely I hate to agree all the time, but I definitely have to agree that Dew was the man of the match, team of the week goalie. You got to tip your hat to him.
Got to give Dew his due. Yeah, I guess I have to agree with you. Although I really, really wanted to lean maybe a Joe Amico just because he had a stellar performance out there on defense on the right side. But yeah, I think there was probably 2 or 3 saves that, no disrespect to any of our other goalkeepers, even, Patrick McLean when he was here, or an Aaron Cervantes, there's a couple saves on there that I don't even know if they could have made in this match. And it could just be because, due the adrenaline of your debut with a new team, a team that's in the hunt for some playoff positioning, and all that just sort of worked out. But yeah, Dew has to be the man of the match on this, because he definitely made at least 2, possibly 3 saves that, if he doesn't make those saves, then it's a totally different score line, and we're looking at another disappointing loss on the road. So I will agree with both of you, gentlemen. All right. Let's get to it then. Let's see. Is there any other soccer news worth talking about at this point?
USL news? I don't think so.
Or just soccer in general. I mean, I don't know. Alan, have you heard anything from the USL that's interesting or worth talking about? Wow.
Not particularly. I mean, we talked about it before. The signing, the ESPN Plus thing is going to be huge. It's going to, I think, just having more eyes in the league is going to be beneficial to all of the teams. The St. Louis announcement's kind of a bummer. And, probably losing another one of the USL sides in the next couple years. It's kind of a bummer for the USL. But I think it's just USL consistently shows the strength of their league, that even though it's second tier, it's still good soccer. It's worth the value of the ESPN Plus, and it's worth the value to watch it on the weekends. I find myself watching USL games way more frequently than I'm watching MLS or Liga MX these days. I think it's good to see it being that ESPN Plus deal being extended as opposed to like a Flow Sports or something.
Yeah, the ESPN deal just makes it so much easier for fans to watch the matches. I mean, that's like a soccer dream option. I mean, it's cheap. There's not just USL, but there's also out-of-market MLS. There is European stuff going on. I mean, it's just amazing. So, and
it's also the ESPN Plus. ESPN is actually paying USL for games as opposed to like just hosting it for free. And I think the scuttlebutt is that that's going to go to increase kind of the quality of streaming and the quality of camera work of the games themselves. So
maybe they can bring us on as commentators. Right? You never know, right?
Right. I think that's one of the other complaints about the league right now is, hey, you're going to pay for it. ESPN's going to pay for it. They're going to demand a better product and some better announcers.
So Alexi Lawless will become an announcer for USL.
I hope not.
I will stop listening. I won't watch a game. I'll cancel.
Watch it on YouTube.
What will you cancel, Dylan?
ESPN Plus.
Your VPN?
I would never.
Oh, yeah. That'll be interesting if they decide to start going to some of those more well-known names as far as ESPN has for broadcast because of that, but who knows?
Alexi Lawless couldn't commentate anything. Nothing could happen, and he couldn't be capable of knowing what to do. So you can't hand him a lower division side. He's just going to talk about his glory days or something. He'd look at Michael Roscoe and be like, oh, back in the 90s, guys, I was Ginger Jesus, and I played for the U.S. team, and I'm really cool, and now I've got a comb over because I'm balding. Like, he would just say some garbage thing. It'd be like Alex Rodriguez.
Share your true feelings, Dylan.
Oh, he's so stupid. The last thing they need to do is just get these the old guard of U.S. soccer, because they're not smart. They're not good at what they do.
It would be really amazing if they could. I know ESPN really doesn't have control of it. It's more the individual teams. But if you could get like an actual dedicated broadcast team for maybe each of the teams that maybe, I know like you currently have where the home games, they sort of are the ones that are on the stream, but at least it's something where it's a broadcast team that's more connected to the USL. They're more connected to maybe the team that they're, at least one of the teams that are in the game. So they know at least a little bit more. They know how to pronounce, at least as an Orange County fan, 50% of the time you'd get correct pronunciation of the names and correct information about the team's history or what's going on. I think that may be the next step in this whole broadcasting thing, is if they could somehow find a way to do that. I don't know if you can really force the teams to do that. The teams have sort of this free option at this point where they can get free broadcasting from the USL, but it would be really cool if you could get maybe more of a dedicated, this is the Orange County team, this is the Portland team, this is the Austin team. I know some of those teams have their own broadcasting. It'd be nice if each team had that, though. Any other USL or soccer news from either of you?
No, I mean, the international break's going on for you big leaguers. The other leagues, I mean, the top two have an international break. I don't want to be a huge downer, so I don't want to talk about Italy and their issues. But, let's just move on.
Perfect. Then we can get on to our...
Yeah, yawn some more. It's time for this old man's bedtime, everyone.
Dude, I'm only like 1 week into this like schedule from hell that I'm going to be going through for the next few months. So, and for whatever reason, a 3-day weekend didn't help out at all. It actually made things worse. So, yeah.
It's all that drinking you did.
I did 1 beer tonight. Random thoughts. Alan, do you have any random thoughts you'd like to share?
Yes. Make sure when you're flying to treat your flight attendants well. And if you pack a heavy bag, be able to get it on and off the plane, and learn how to deplane by grabbing your bag before it's your turn to walk. That is my random thought for the night.
There was like a cricket at the end of that. Dylan, anything for you?
Yeah, I'm a little bit scared that Alan's outside of my house now. With all those crickets, it's mildly terrifying. It is hotter than the surface of the sun out here, maybe.
Yes.
Probably not actually factual, but feels like it. If you have outdoor pets, you should probably just put them inside. And my literature recommendation for this week is Ruby Fruit Jungle by Rita Mae Brown. Don't read this one to your kids.
Why not, Dylan?
Some parts of it are hard to deal with.
How hard are they?
Okay. You done? There's some insanity, so if you are easily put off by... if you wouldn't watch Game of Thrones, I can't recommend you watch this. I'll just leave it at that.
Watch it. Or read it.
If you can't watch Game of Thrones, then
I wouldn't recommend you watch it.
I messed up there, didn't I?
You did.
No one's perfect.
I guess not. Unless you're Alan.
Ho Buddy's Nerfix.
Oh, Alan's got some banter. Ho Buddy's Nerfix.
Ho Buddy's Nerfix, yeah.
Some Kristen Wiig?
Kristen Bell quoting a line from Parks and Rec, I think. Because it's the same guy who created both of them.
Greg Schurz.
Sure.
You guys, I know a famous person.
Is he famous?
Can I just shout out Joe Miko again for being like, wow.
Negatory ghostwriter, the pattern is full.
Go for it. Shot him out, Dylan.
Damn, that was impressive. He played so well. I'm so proud of him.
Yet you gave your star of the match to Frederick.
The man made 7 saves.
Then why aren't you shouting him out again? Or shouting him out? Whatever you call it. Shot at him, shout at him, whatever it is.
Anyway, I hope Joe sticks around.
I hope he does too.
Please stay, Joe, if you're listening. I don't know if you still listen. Probably don't. I don't blame you. Please stay. Someone find Joe's girlfriend a job so he feels like he should stay here. It's perfect.
I'm sure they're hiring at UCI. Tell her to go head down there. What I don't really have a random thought for y'all. I mean, nothing big happened this weekend except for there was a watch party. I guess I can say I'm excited for my kids' soccer team. I started working out some of the potential goalies, and I found out that I have probably about 4 or 5 that can play goalie. It's 2 teams, so I think I'm set for goalie, which is one of the harder positions I've had in the past of finding enough players that want to do that. So I guess that's what I'll say is my random thought for the evening. Unless Dylan or Alan have anything else to say, I think this is a good point of time to end this episode. Any last things you want to say, gentlemen?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at OCSC_Dylan or on Reddit /u/OCSC_Dylan.
Alan?
You can find me on the Twitter machines at AUnderwood48.
Perfect. And you can find me on Twitter at DJ Ray Samora. You can also find the podcast on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast. You can find our website our website, www, you don't have to put that in there, .ocscpodcast.com. That has links to all of our social media stuff also, where you can find our podcast. For all of our listeners that have been listening since day one, thanks for coming back each and every episode and listening to what Dylan, Alan, and I have to say. I know sometimes we say some of the stupidest stuff, but you keep listening anyway, so that's just an awesome thing there. If you're listening for the very first time and you loved what we had to say, go and check some of our older episodes back. You can find all of our episodes on our website or on any of your favorite podcast providers. For Dylan, for Alan, I am Ray. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out.
Win or lose, we will always follow you. Let it rain, let it pour, we will sing forevermore. Our opponents know we will fight until it shows. Forever orange and black, you can bet your life on that. CLC, ole, ole, ole. CLC, ole, CLC, ole, ole. CLC, ole, ole, ole. CLC, ole.
Thanks to our sponsor, Ruffneck Scarves. They provide scarves for the USL, MLS, and a bunch of other stuff. You can find their scarves at ruffneckscarves.com. You can get something for your supporter group, for your favorite team, or whatever you're looking for a scarf for. So check them out at ruffneckscarves.com.